The legal questions here, of course, growing. Judge Andrew Napolitano served as New Jersey Superior Court judge. He's been a friend of former President Trump's for over 3 decades. Thanks for being with us as always. You know, this is a 7-year-old case. Federal prosecutors refused to bring this one to court. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most serious, where do these allegations fall?
Probably around 2 or 3, Adrienne. I mean, Trump's people, Joe Tacopina, you ran a little clip of him a few moments ago with Mark Levin, will probably argue that this is just a bookkeeping error. The government, on the other hand, will argue that the election laws were written for a purpose. They're quite serious. It's a felony for corporations to spend money on an election. How did a corporation spend money on an election? That's what the government has to prove. The government will have to satisfy a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that the $130,000 that Michael Cohen took out of his own pocket to pay Stormy Daniels and then was eventually slowly $10,000 a month over 13 months reimbursed. The reimbursement was from the Trump Organization, and that was a circuitous route to avoid the laws which prevent corporations from making donations to a campaign. Trump's people will argue that Stormy Daniels was paid off not to help the campaign, but to help Donald Trump's marriage, that it was, in fact, Mrs. Trump that he was worried about, not the voters, even though this happened the 3rd week in October in 2016. So it's not an easy case to prove. It is not the strongest case against Donald Trump, but it is a case because the laws are there and the government believes it can prove that Donald Trump personally orchestrated the violation of these campaign finance laws.
But how much indisputable evidence, how much criminal evidence will the Manhattan DA have to have? I mean, falsifying business records related to this hush money payment to Stormy Daniels could be tried as a misdemeanor, but they're actually looking potentially to make this a felony. What would they need to prove?
Okay, so you're quite correct, Adrienne. Falsifying business records in New York, even for a privately held family company like the Trump Organization, is a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor means you don't go to jail. The maximum penalty is less than a year. It becomes a felony if the falsification was done to hide another felony. So that's where the government has to prove the other felony, which is the use of corporation funds as a campaign donation. That's a felony. That's a federal felony to which Michael Cohen has already pleaded guilty before a federal judge 3 years ago for orchestrating the scheme. So a federal judge has already found that the scheme occurred and that the scheme was felonious. All that information will be placed before a jury. If the jury accepts it, then this misdemeanor charge, see how sort of complex this is? It's not clear cut. This misdemeanor charge of falsifying records becomes a felony, and if convicted of the felony, Donald Trump will be exposed to jail time.
But this DA is particularly interesting. Number one, because he's been in the news quite a bit overall. Number two, because he came into office saying that he would not try numerous cases related to nonviolent crimes. And then you have to look at the fact that he was criticized for not bringing a case against Mr. Trump related to the finances of the Trump Organization. So could this be even more politicized than we even imagine?
You know, like many things around Donald Trump, this is an only in America story. So Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, you're quite correct, ran saying no politics in the office. When he arrived in the office, there already was a 2-year investigation going on of Donald Trump. His predecessor, Cy Vance, had hired 2 former federal prosecutors to work exclusively on building a case against Donald Trump. Alvin Bragg looked at the evidence, said, I'm not going to do it. The prosecutors quit. One of them wrote a book, was harshly critical of Alvin Bragg. He changed his mind. He reconstituted the investigation. They re-interviewed witnesses. They assembled a new grand jury. They presented all of this to a new grand jury. One of Donald Trump's arguments will be, again, as Joe Tacopina just said, this is the weaponization of the Justice Department. Alvin Bragg will say, we now have more evidence against Donald Trump than we had before, and we would be remiss if we failed to prosecute just because he's a politician and just because he's running for president, because the laws apply to everyone. So there are arguments on both sides of this, and there will be no end to it. until the jury decides.
Okay, lightning round answer for you, real quick. Do you think President Trump or former President Trump will be arrested tomorrow?
I think he'll self-surrender, which is the legal equivalent of an arrest, but they're not going to drag him out of his house in handcuffs. No.
All right. Judge Napolitano, thank you as always.
Pleasure, Adrienne.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.